you could define the character of the people, what is the character of the people?
So the people of Lancaster are an extremely diverse people. They represent every known ethnic group of Northwestern Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe. They represent all of the religions known in the Judeo-Christian religion. In fact, we had them from the very beginning. Before Lancaster County was even started in 1729, we had living here, and in relative harmony, Germans, both the kind who went to church and the
I'm
ones...
thinking of a different kind of character, not their ethnic or
well, they were all,
but the character of their insides.
All right.
Are they hardworking? Are they lazy? Are they money-oriented? Are they...
Oh, indeed. The upstairs is to be kept closed during the daytime to discourage sleep. You stay downstairs, you work in the house or you work in your office or shop. People believe in honesty. They're not free from sin. They're human beings. We must always remember that they're free from, they're not free from sin, that they do all kinds of things that other people do, but they take a rather pragmatic attitude toward life. They enjoy life, I think, for the most part.
Would you say that the people of this area are backward, are forward, are right in the mainstream? Would you say that they're more concerned with the future or the past than the rest of the country? How would you define it in those terms?
Well, actually, people will get cross at me for saying this, I guess, because we like to think of ourselves, somewhat of perverse humor, as being one of the most conservative places in the nation. And actually, we're not. We're considerably more liberal, I believe, in our outlook on life than the Midwest. So far as the future goes, I think most people in Lancaster County are perennially optimistic. I'm always very sanguine about the future. I think history tells us that we have, somehow we're going to get through, and we're going to get through well.
When you were a child in Lancaster, did it seem like a smaller place than it is now? And if so, what is the change? Obviously, there's a change everywhere in the country, everywhere in the world.
Well,
do you remember it?
Well, when I was a child, Lancaster not only seemed like a smaller place, it was a smaller place. It has grown greatly in the past 20 or 30 years, particularly since World War II. And it has brought in many new ideas and many new groups of people, and we've had to become accustomed to these people. And we've been doing so.
What though was it provincial is what I'm saying? Is there a change in terms of the relationship to the rest of the world? What do you think the power of all that communication is? Now, as we've been experiencing it here in Lancaster and everywhere else that we've been, really, you're talking about an enormous change. You're talking about children who know and see things that children never knew before. You're talking about the travel agency popping into the computer and getting instant flights to Hong Kong and knowing what your hotel and your car are going to be. What do you see as the effect of this communications change nationwide and in Lancaster
As the communications improve, the world is said to get smaller, and I think it does. And the typical Lancaster Countyan shares in that in both directions. He shares in it that he knows that the world is smaller and he can relate more closely to further parts of the world. At the same time, he likes and wishes to give and contribute to the world more of his culture. We think we have something special here, and we'd like to share it with the rest of the world. But at the same time, we realize that there are other parts of the world that has something that we'd like to know too, and maybe we can improve upon it.
Is that what's been happening here? Is that the way? Describe that to me.
Yes, I feel we have done that very well. We have a great deal of travel. Even our most backward, if we want to call it that, plain sex and the Amish travel to far countries now. So there's really no excuse for anyone in Lancaster County for not knowing what is going on around the world. They do travel. Yes.
Do you feel that this is making the county less different from other places? Is this communications change affecting us all so that we're becoming more homogenous as a people nationwide, maybe even worldwide?
I don't think the people of Lancaster County are going to be influenced that much by it. They use communications. They love it. They use it. They make the very practical use out of communications. But at the same time, they bend it to that which is unique in Lancaster County rather than just becoming like any other community.
The new industry, the old industry refurbished. As we've been seeing the industries in town this week, there is a change. You're talking about a workforce, 50% of whom aren't doing any manufacturing at all. What do you think about these new industries as you perceive them here in town? RCA is doing something different than it was a while back, may not have been here. Sperry, New Holland's manufacturing system is different. There is a change in the industry. How do you analyze, what do you see as that change between, let's say, 30 years ago and today? What has changed in the industry in this town?
Local industrialists have discovered that if you want to stay alive, you have to change. That wasn't always true. They wondered why they were going out of business and why they had to change. In fact, they didn't change. Well, today's industrialist knows that he has to change to stay with it. We have some very intelligent industrialists in Lancaster County, some homegrown, some brought in. So the early industries have passed from the scene. In fact, even those 20, 30, 40 years ago have passed from the scene in many places. What they make and how they make it passes. But the philosophy behind it, that unique Lancaster County character, has not passed. In fact, if anything, it is more here than it was in the early days, which keeps us healthy, keeps our economy very healthy.
But what specifically, if you walked into the industries today and you walked in and out of every one, what would you see different than you saw as a boy had you walked through?
Can we talk about the plant here?
Any plant, all
right.
The plants.
Right here at the lawns of the Hamilton Watch.
Not specifically Hamilton,
all right.
all of them.
So we again have the old time adapting to the new and being quite successful at it. Now you're talking about the products that are made in Lancaster County. That changes according to the demand of the outside world. What is needed in industry, we make. There's no particular Lancaster County stamp on what is decided to be made.
Sound 12. Jack, are things moving faster? Does it appear to you, in the time that you've been alive here, is the pace of life faster? Are things moving faster, and is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, the pace of Lancaster has certainly has moved up and has progressed. It moves faster. The people are keeping in tune with that. They haven't really lost anything in this regard.
Excellent. The consciousness of the people, their awareness of themselves and of things around them, has there been a change there? Because that appears to us to be changing nationwide. For a long time, we were an agricultural society, and then for a relatively short time, an industrial society. And whatever we are now, it doesn't appear to be quite the same thing. Do you see it that way?
The people of Lancaster are certainly aware of changes around them. I think there's a great hesitation to change. There's a reluctance to become like the rest, especially if it doesn't square with their religious and philosophical ideas. We are conservative in that respect. We don't particularly like change for the sake of change. Change here in Lancaster County is something to be carefully steered like an automobile with one foot on the brakes. So you don't go whole hog. You don't want it to run away. You want to go somewhere, but you don't want it to run away.
Yet, you're economically very sound. The city is thriving. Clearly, there's something going on here. I mean, it's fascinating to me that this city, we're amazed at the activity in the city.
Lancaster's activity and its revival, I don't know how much of a revival it is. It's probably just a new spurt in life, but is caused by our very pragmatic approach to things.
Do you feel that the city loses something for being a small city? The fact that it's not Philly, that it's not New York, that it's not Boston. And has that changed? In other words, has the growth of the information industry, the growth of communications, the coming in of people from the outside made this city more of a cosmopolitan place that means that the big cities have less to offer and Lancaster has more to offer? Has there been a change there?
Lancaster always has been a cosmopolitan place in its own controlled way. Now, as the world comes in on it, intrudes upon it, There is some resentment in some quarters, but it doesn't take long for them to recognize that, well, we better do something about this and adjust to it. So we don't really want to be like the big cities we see. We want to be Lancaster. We don't want to be Philadelphia or New York. We like some of the things they have, but if it would come to a toss-up, we'd much rather stay the way we are. We want the best of two worlds here in Lancaster, and we usually get it.
What about education? The new people coming in, and even the people here, are really a more educated people. Do you see a change there?
The educational tradition of Lancaster County goes way back from the very beginning. That we've always had good schools, good academies. We have 3 very fine colleges in and around Lancaster. Education means something very much, very personal to most of the people of Lancaster. Now, there are some who, of course, it doesn't. This is to be expected, but education ranks fairly high among Lancastrians. But at the same time, that practical, pragmatic factor comes out again, and they make a place for the liberal education. In fact, our institutions of higher learning are very much steeped in that. But when it comes to the man in the street, he wants a very practical education for his sons and daughters, and we have vo-tech schools in Lancaster County, and they do quite a good job. So education means a great deal here, so long as it's stamped with the Made in Lancaster's mark on it.
The kind of education I'm talking about is the fact that you need a more highly educated workforce to work in these contemporary industries, these RCA-type industries. Even Hamilton Watch is not the same industry as it was 40 years ago. There's a different educational requirement now. It's a more sophisticated, more communications-oriented, more electronic-oriented. Is that? And there's a lot of people coming in from the outside, too.
One of the things that the public vo-tech schools have done in Lancaster County is to put in courses which are geared to the needs, the immediate needs, as well as the planned needs of Lancaster County industry. And so they do turn out students who are rather well trained and able to take their place in modern industry and modern service industry. Since we have so much service industry now, they do train them along those lines also. And they're able to step into the offices with the computers and with all the other electronic gadgetry. So they're right with that. I would say that Lancaster County public education hasn't missed a bet when it comes to being right on target with the latest in technological and electronic know-how.
Yeah, give me your opinion about this for a second. The plow, an enormous bit of human invention that caused enormous changes and still does. The steam engine, an incredible invention. There's a lot of people who think, and we're among them, that the computer also is making a profound change in the way we live our lives on every level. And as I go down the street, if I went into any business, and even to many homes, the telephone, the clothing designed by computer, the car, etc., it's making a profound change. Do you feel that this new electronic technology, this information technology, is of the magnitude of those earlier technologies that affected us so greatly?
The electronic technology, of which I just spoke, and the being right with it, the progress in teaching it to the students, and their readiness and their training for going into this field is good. And it's going to stand them in a good place for a number of years. But I imagine we'll be changing the electronic business, the age, just as we changed from water to steam, and then from steam to the electric motors, and from the large motors to the small ones, and now we're in almost the miniature stage. And I imagine that before my days are up, I will have seen the electronic age pass and something else take its place. I fully expect that to happen. And when that happens, Lancaster County will be right there with whatever it takes to meet that new challenge.
Well, in a sense, we're still plowing the fields. And we're still using engines to run our industry in one form or other. And I'm thinking more of the ability to store information and for you to communicate with Washington, with New York, for Michigan to communicate with you. That's what I'm thinking of, the level and the speed and pace of information going around the country. Do you think that's a profound change?
So we're right on top of that situation. I wish we could do more, and we probably will, but it's part of the Lancaster County tradition.
How do you personally deal with all that information? I mean, I asked you that before. You find it a problem in your business that you're getting an overload?
We try to get all the information we can get. It's very hard to get it, and so we get it as we can get it, and we'll worry about how to retrieve it later. There'll be some kind of electronic gadget that will pull it out, but right now we're interested in getting it and putting it away where we know we have it. The Lancaster County tradition includes a certain rack pack or squirreling tendency to let's get the information and put it aside so we have it.